chat about our goals and kind of just help each other and support and things like that. Perfect. Yep. Got your message, Sam. That's perfect. Yeah, so just catch up, but now, sorry, that's loud. Yeah, just a way for us to keep catching up during this time. Like, I know it's easy for us to kind of get stuck in a little bit of a rut, stuck at home and, you know, stuck between the four walls and not be able to get out and have that connection. Like, I know how important that is for myself and a lot of other people to have that connection. And obviously now is a really important time to make sure that's still happening and we're still having that connecting time. So just bringing this online means that, you know, other people from different suburbs and things like that can jump on and yeah, so we're keeping this going. So just a little bit about our Perfectly Imperfect Mums group. So a long time ago, you know, not so long ago, Hides and I, obviously we worked closely together. We decided, we came to realize that it was just too hard trying to be perfect, trying to be people that we weren't. And I think, you know, that can relate to a lot of people. But yeah, we just gave up on trying to be perfect, trying to fit in and trying to be someone that we're not. So we kind of just created this group and we were like, you know what? People, mums, especially women, just need the real us, the reality of life, you know, trying to, you know, run a business, what's being a mum, what's being all these other things, and show the perfectly imperfect images of that and the reality of all of that stuff. So that's kind of a little bit about, you know, our group, and, you know, we're all about health, all about encouragement and support and all of those things as well. So for me, I am very passionate about health and supporting women, especially around mental health. That's my biggest focus, is mental health and making sure that's the best that it can be. So making sure that, obviously, this is why this is so important, this call. Okay, Joe, you can't hear anything. So down, okay, that's gonna be hard if you can't hear anything. Hang on a second. Just going to send her a message. Hi, Joe. If you just look down the bottom left-hand screen, you might see connect to audio. Just click that button. You should be able to hear from there. Sorry, girls. Technical issues. Sorry, I've lost what I was saying. So, yeah, a little bit about me is that I'm obviously passionate about mental health and making sure that, you know, you're living your best life, your most healthiest life that you can be, to be able to, you know, just live that quality life. Oh my gosh, I've got the worst train of thought today. So I'm going to pass it over to Heidi, and she's just going to share a little bit about herself and the group and where we're at.
Thank you, Beck. Hopefully I have let my little helper go now. It's climbing all over me, making noise with cars. So yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. That's how we do this with kids. So if you haven't met me, I'm Heidi. And yes, one day Beck and I were out to dinner together and we're trying to take a selfie, and it was absolutely terrible. And we just gave up and we let somebody else take an old-fashioned photo, as we called it. And we decided right then and there that trying to be perfect is boring anyway. We're just going to embrace who we are, perfectly imperfect, and we're just, yeah, basically just going to roll with who we are. And yeah, there's no point you know, trying to be somebody else. Like, to stop being the person that you are is a waste of who you are. I don't know, there's some great quote around that, I'll find it. But yeah, so we just basically decided we're just going to be raw, we're just going to be real, we're just going to be vulnerable, because not only is that the easiest way to live when you stop trying to be like somebody else, but it also gives other people permission to be themselves as well. And that's what we just really want to do. We just want to encourage women and support women. You know, me personally, my biggest challenges have been anxiety and fear and self-doubt and self-loathing. It's horrendous. Like, I put on this bubbly, happy front, but no one really knows the true pain and sadness and hurt and stuff that goes on behind. So to kind of share that with other women, they kind of get to also have a big sigh of relief and be like, oh, okay, I'm not alone. I don't have to try and be perfect either, because everybody has their own stuff going on and their own mess behind closed doors, and we're all just real and normal, and yeah, which is great. So I personally just love to encourage women to be their authentic selves. I think every single woman is beautiful. I don't think it matters about your shape, your size, your age, your hair color, any of that crap. I don't think that matters. I just love to look at women and see their true beauty within them and encourage them and inspire them to be the best version of themselves and to confidently be their real selves. So yeah, it's kind of what I love to do.
Beautiful. Yeah, and last week was our first online catch up, and I had one of my friends jump on as well, and she doesn't normally get on these calls or normally things that we've got going on or whatnot, but it was really cool to see her jump on and just listen in. And I chatted to her after the call, and I said, how did you go? What did you think? I'd love to hear your honest feedback, how like what we spoke about, and could you give me any tips or any advice or anything like that? Just so obviously I'm always trying to improve on everything that I'm doing. And she just the thanks that she had for jumping on it, and that she was so grateful to be able to hear it and listen to it. And what she has said was around that, obviously there's a lot going on in social media and out there in the world at the moment that can be quite draining and quite it can bring your spirit down. And so it was really nice to hear that she actually felt uplifted and felt positive, and it was good. She felt like she went away with more positive thoughts. So it was just really cool to hear that, you could offer that to someone and give that support to somebody else, even though it's online and we're not physically connecting with each other. But that's what I live for, those moments, and just hearing that from other women, that thank you so much for that support, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to, be in that bit of a rut. So yeah, that's what inspires me and drives me every day. And values is such a huge, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to talk a little bit about values, and get you to do like a little activity, which is really cool, to kind of figure out what your values are if you don't know them. And also I've got a little board here as well that I'm just going to write some stuff on, maybe. So at the end, like, you can just ask questions if you've got any, or anything like that. I'm totally open. Now, also, I am not a professional or anything like that. I'm really just sharing my own personal experience from where I was to where I am now, and my journey in between, and how I came to, be the person that I am today. So, a couple of years ago, I was not the same person that I am today. That's okay, back. Too cool. Yeah, I was not the same person that I used to be. So finding my values, like, your values are what makes you you. Your values are what picks up your vibration, and what helps you feel inspired and feel good and motivated. And when you don't live within your values, you can feel unfulfilled, and you can feel that I guess I'm talking about my own experience here, is that you can feel like a shell of a person. You feel like you don't have anything left to give, and you kind of lose your identity. And I really noticed that within myself after I had children, and that kind of was another part of my journey to learning all this stuff, was to find myself again, because I really was at my lowest point a couple of years ago, when I realized that I felt truly like I had nothing left to offer this world, and it was just such a horrible place to be in, to feel like that you've got no value to give anybody. So I think that was really my turning point to actually do something about it. And that was, I started on my health first, because that's what I needed to work on first. My energy was so low. My my mental state was so low because of my nutrition was so bad. You know, I thought I ate really well, but as a family, like, you know, I was yelling at the children and, you know, just getting frustrated with them all the time. And yeah, I guess that was my turning point to realize that I wasn't enjoying the quality of my life, and I knew that I wasn't giving my children the quality of life, and, you know, what they truly deserve, which was a happy and content and a peaceful mum. And that's the mum that I wanted to be, and I wasn't being that. So I worked on my health, and over the years realized that health was a really high value of mine. So was quality time. I'd lost my dad in 2010. He committed suicide, and that was a huge wake-up call for me, to really just start appreciating life and start waking the F up, and, you know, doing something with your life. And that's probably where the family quality time was a huge value of mine as well. And then obviously over time, you know, having children and losing yourself, losing your identity, you started to, you know, give away your values. I stopped doing all the things, you know, physically. I stopped doing all the things emotionally. I stopped doing all the things financially, which left me with feeling like I had nothing to give. So I gave all my values away, because that's what I thought I had to do because I was a mum. That's, you know, your sole focus was on your children, which in that moment kept me going to a point, and then it wasn't okay anymore when it was not okay. So just trying to work out where I can go from here. Do you want me to just go straight into like the little activity that you can do, or do you want me to talk about? Okay,
No,
cool. So what you can hey,
I'm excited for this.
okay, cool. So on your piece of paper, you can write down 7 things that make your heart beat, or do, you know, things that you love, or things that make you feel inspired. So if you can write a list of 7 things. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, go to Dad. Yeah, so write down 7 things that make your heart beat. Just let me know when you've done that. So it's only a little quick activity.
Can you hear me at all?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, thank God.
Yay, you worked it out.
Yay. Don't know how. I did.
Well done.
Today. Sorry, we're writing down 7 things that we're grateful for.
7 things that 7 things that you love to do, that makes your heart beat, that makes you feel inspired, or you know, the things that you do that uplift your spirits, and just make you feel excited and make you feel motivated. So for me, that's you know, going for a walk. So exercise is one of my values. Going fishing, that, oh my gosh, that's like a huge value of mine. That makes me so happy to go fishing. So yeah, getting outdoors. Yeah, so there's some examples, like just something that makes you really happy. Camping, fishing, family, connection, love, friends.
Hey Beck,
Yeah.
sorry, is on your screen, does it have a meeting password at all?
Yes, it does. It's 805 605.
Okay. 805 605. All right. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
So you girls, that's okay. Have you got your 7 things, girls?
I've got 4.
You got 4? Don't tell me what they are.
Well, sunshine. I get really down when it's a cloudy, overcast day, if it's especially if it goes more than one day. So sunshine, I really immediately am boosted from sunshine. Walking, I do a lot of walking. It's part of my meditation time. A lot of people want to go walking with me, and I'm like, it's my alone time. It's my time that I actually think, if you come with me, you've got to know that you can't talk to me. It's nothing personal. My meditation time. Yoga, I got into yoga meditation for the meditation part of it about a year ago. I know that you and I touched on a little bit of my journey a little while ago, and I actually stayed with it for the exercise part as well, because because of all the operations that I had a lot of pain, and so the meditation with the exercise actually helped me get over that. You know, friends, I don't have family. I have family, but we're disconnected because of the toxic relationship that had developed over years and years of just toxicity from them. That about 6 months ago, I decided, with the help of a counsellor, that I needed to disconnect from them. It was the hardest thing that I ever did, but then I've built a bubble of friends, and they've become my family. And they know, like one guy, Uncle Paul, he's nearly 70, and he's taken me under his wing, and I think I actually do more for him, but I let him think that, you know, and I just, those connections have become so vital for me, getting through each and every day, touching base with people. I wouldn't put my work in amongst that. What I would put is aspects of my work in amongst that, because there's aspects of my work, because I help a lot of people through what I do, that actually bring joy to me. Yeah.
So do you think it'd be more like quality time?
Yeah, definitely. When I'm at work, I'm in the groove. I'm there. It's for me to get from home, out of the home to work, is my biggest hurdle. I've actually enlisted the help of a friend on my really bad days. He takes me to and from work, which is really huge, because he lives at Morayfield and I work at Chermside. So he doesn't say anything, he just does it. And I sit there with listening to my meditation music, close my eyes, and I'm at work. He drops me off at the front door, basically, and I go, and then he picks me up in the afternoon. And it might happen 1 or 2 times a week at the moment, but that's where those friends like that are vital.
Yeah.
And it's sort of,
so friends would be definitely high on your values list then. Friends, quality time, connection.
Yeah. It's very much a holistic approach for me. Like, one thing doesn't go without the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And that's totally fine. Like, if you can only think of 4, then that's obviously something that's really, really strong to you. And to find 7 just like that would be pretty hard anyways, because I haven't given you much, like, in the beginning, to kind of get your mind to think in that space, in that mind space, if that makes sense. So to be able to think of 7 things straight away would be pretty difficult, but for you to get 4 straight away like that and have such strong feeling towards those things, it's obvious that they are kind of your main values anyways. So that's okay, because I can keep going, and I'm going to show you that you're probably already living those anyways, and that's totally fine. So once you've got your 7, then imagine like you're sitting in a boat. The boat has got a hole in it and it's starting to sink. So it's starting to fill up with water, and the only way that you're going to survive is that you have to throw out 2 of your values. So take 2 of your values off your list, and keep the ones that are in your boat that are your most important to you.
Immediately, I'm going to go with walking and yoga, because I can't live without sunshine and my friends.
Yep. So
That's
then
me
it's
done.
still sinking. Yeah. So then it's still sinking. So you throw
Well,
out another 2.
Friends. I would
So you're going to,
sacrifice my children over my friends.
yeah, you're going to have 3 values left. So keep
Okay.
throwing out values out of that boat until you've got 3 left.
I haven't sort of gotten to the last 3 values yet. So I suppose if I had a chance to really put more thought into it, it's quite hard and it becomes quite emotional. Oh, we've lost you.
I'm still here.
There you are.
See you back. Have a great day. We'll talk later. Amazing. Send it through later. I'll see.
Thanks for joining us, gorgeous.
Sorry, I feel like I'm taking everybody's time up. Somebody else have a go.
No, all good. So if you've got your 3 values there. Oh, hey, Cherie. Are you really? No. Did you put a virtual background on?
How do you do that?
You go down. Okay, so bottom left where your video camera is, there's a chevron arrow pointing up. You
Yeah.
click that and choose virtual background.
Oh my.
I had to download this. But yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to figure that out next time. Brent actually taught me that the other day because he was on a Zoom. I'm on the Zoom all the time and he's figuring out all this stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to figure this out. Mind blown. Oh my
Simple
gosh.
thing.
Simple things. I know. Oh my goodness. So funny. All right, back on topic. So the last 3 things that you have are what you are running in your life right now. So those values of what you have and what you live by right now. Can you see that to be true?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
Awesome. So I know that, when you're living in your values, obviously if you're living by those values every single day and you're making sure that, that is your main focus, then your life is going to be, much more uplifted, much more positive and much more inspiring. And you're going to be coming from such a beautiful place. I know, for a lot of people, especially myself, I run charity fundraising events through Girls Night Out events, and that event is a lot of connection. There is a lot of women there, and I get so much of my connection there at that event. It's all physical, we get to hug people and share in different stories. So it's all about connection. It's about experiences and all of those things. So, and I know to be true for a lot of people, a lot of beauty therapists who are physically connecting with people every single day, to have this to stop them from doing that right now, it's taking away that value. So a lot of people, are feeling the effects of they're feeling incomplete, or they're feeling like they've lost their value to give people. Do you know what I mean? They're feeling like they're not able to give that to people anymore. So especially in a time like this, it's sorry. Oh, I thought someone said something. It's so important to just be creative and find how you can be able to still do have that physical connection or that physical touch or whatever, it might be with your family. And sometimes we've got these goggles on that are like our perception and what we see. And, sometimes it's when we just open it a little bit to see outside of those goggles, it's like, oh, hang on a minute. I've got my family here. I can go, be physical touch with them, and, offer them a massage or something like that. So, so for me, a long time ago, now it'll be interesting me saying this, because this is kind of something that I've learned over time, and I just want you to go with me. Like, if you're like, whoa, that's a bit too full on, Beck, like I don't believe that or anything like that, but it might be really interesting, so I'm going to share it anyways. So when two people come together, you've got a man and a woman, or whatever you choose. I'm not discriminating here, but a man and a woman, right? You come together with your values. You both come as two individuals, and then you come together, and then you have shared values, because you're attracted to each other because of your shared values. So for example, you know, our shared values are, you know, family. Our shared values are spending time with friends. Our shared values are going to the pub and having a drink and having that connection with people. So those are our shared values. And then we were attracted to each other because of those things. Then when we come together as a relationship, you actually forgo some of your values. So same like what I was telling in the start about when I had my kids, I forgo some of my values. You know, I stopped hanging out with, you know, some mum friends. I stopped doing some outings and blah, 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 all those things. So it's the same as when you come into a partnership, you forgo your values, and that becomes a void. So you stop doing the things that you love, which makes you frustrated. It makes you feel incomplete. It makes you feel unfulfilled. And sometimes, oh no, okay. It's saying I'm running out of time, Hides.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm just going to keep talking.
Okay.
So you come together.
Can keep going.
Pardon?
I just had a note. It said we have removed the 40-minute time limit as our gift to you, so we're good.
Oh, okay, great. So you come together, and then you share some of your values, but then some of your values become void. So you start giving up some of your things. So you start giving up things like hanging out with your friends, or you start giving up spending time with family, or you start giving up some of those things. So slowly you start to take over your partner's value system, which is not yours, which kind of leaves you feeling all of those you know, negative emotions and things like that. So that's why it's so important to find your values, and absolutely really important to communicate your values. So when you know your values, you can communicate those values to your partner, your friends, your family, whoever, in a way that, and you can also accept their values as well. So that's really helpful to be able to give to your partner as well, to be able to help see, you know, what their values are, to come back to that attraction stage again, because you start to, you know, have arguments about, you know, not seeing your friends, or you have arguments because you can't get out of the house, or whatever that may be, or whatever it looks like to you. You start to get frustrated in the relationship, and so yeah, finding your values, and then finding your shared values again. So you can do a little activity. You can write a list. So you can write all of your values on one side of the list. So your values are everything from when you used to be a kid, like what are things that you used to do before children, before marriage, before partnership, as a child. What were the things that you loved to do? Did you love to climb trees? Did you love to jump on the trampoline? Did you love to ride bikes? Like all of those things going back to your childhood. Like if you can remember all of those things, go back to that time and write all of those things that would equal a value. So whether that be you value independence, you value your alone time, you value value freedom. That's something that I realized over my time as well, is a high importance on independence is for me. You know, after becoming a mum and losing my independence, I was like, holy shit, like now I see the importance of you know, and finding that again, getting that independence back. I was like, oh my God, like I realized how much I was craving that independence. I realized how much, you know, I would be a hermit crab at home, and I wouldn't go out and socialize with my friends because I was too busy at home. I was too tired at home with the kids, and it was just a never-ending cycle. So and then once you start doing those things, you start to realize how much you actually missed and needed those, and how much that made you. Which is incredibly important, to be making sure that you're living your values every single day, because that's what makes you you, right? That's what makes you attractive to your partner. That's what makes you inspiring to other people, because you know yourself again. And yeah, some people forget who they are. Has that been helpful? I feel like I'm rambling a little bit.
That's good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that little list you can do with your partner as well, if they're up for it. If they're not, that's totally okay as well. So you can do a list. So on one side you can have list your values, and then on the other side you can list their values, and then you can do it vice versa as well. So I'll write it on the board that I've got here so it kind of makes sense. So
how would it go because I've only got my kids, how would it go if I did it with like my kids? Would it work so similar sort of, like, obviously I'd have to tone my list down, but you know, to suit them, but that would be a bonding exercise to do with them as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could always get them to write their list, and that way you can kind of see what they value as well, because at the end of the day, your children are a part of you, so they're going to have some shared values of yours anyways. And especially children, I think it's so important to, especially if they're at an age where you can have the conversation to work out, you know, because I know I've got to find who they are again, because I've got two small children. My eldest is 7 this year, and my youngest has just turned 5. And doing this work for myself and finding out my own values, I start to look at my children and see what they value. So a lot of, like, you know, same with the relationship, same with when you come together with a partnership, you know, you start to forgo some of your values. And that's what sometimes we're doing as parents, is we're taking some of our children's values and putting our values over theirs. So, you know, that can lead to them being frustrated and feeling unfulfilled and all of those things, and acting out, and you know, especially if it's not something that they enjoy. Like, I look at my children and I know that they value being in the dirt and playing outside. Like, that lights them up. I know that sometimes sitting on the couch and watching a movie, like, that will light them up. Having their alone time, that lights them up. Spending quality time, I know that lights them up. So it's just about, like, it's really great for you, but it's also great, like, especially if you can have that conversation, you can get them to write the list as well, which is incredibly helpful, because, you know, as I can only imagine as the children get older, they start to separate themselves from you. So to be able to have that and be able to share in that as well, and kind of work around that, I think would be such an incredible little thing. So your values, actually I don't even need to write that. Literally just write a little list, like 2 columns, list your values, and then you can always list, if you've got a partner, you can list what you perceive are your partner's values, and then you can do the same for them. So your partner can have the same list, so list their values, and then they list what they think our perceived values are. It's a really great way to see, like, come together as well, to see, like, what your shared values are, and also what is important to you. So for example, like, and also I had a chat with a lady the other day, and she said to me, so how do you get your, I think it was around, I don't know the exact question, but it was around, like, how do you get your partner to understand your values, to be like, to accept them. And it's 100% not about trying to get someone to agree or accept or like your values or understand your values, depending on what it is. If it's a shared value and it's incredibly important for both of you, like a shared value of mine and my husband's is our children, like that's incredibly important to us. So we have to be on the same page for that. But some other things, like he likes golf and footy and things like that, where I don't understand that, but I don't need to know those things. I don't need to be involved in those things. But I need to be accepting that those are his values and that's what makes him happy. And it's really important for the communication side to be making sure that each party is fulfilling their values, because that's what's going to bring you back to that attraction phase again, with appreciating each other and, you know, communicating with each other, you know, seeing that they're not doing okay. And it's about Yep. Sorry.
I'm just taking you with me. I'm making another coffee.
Oh. So you can see them when they're in that moment, and they're not doing okay, or they need some alone time or some out or something like that you see. It's about going back to the values and saying, hey, I've noticed you haven't caught up with Timmy in a while. You know, do you think you need to go to the pub and have a beer? Or, you know, I'm noticing that you're feeling this. You know, do you need to go exercise? Do you need to, you know, do those things on your value list to get you back to you? Because you can both see that each other, when you're fulfilling your values, you're both coming back lit up, and more excited about life. And I hope that helps. So in the beginning, I know for me, it was very frustrating. After I had kids, I noticed that when I stopped doing all of those things, I started to get really upset that my husband was going to work, that he got to go out and have some alone time, even though he wasn't actually having some alone time, he was going to work. But I started to get jealous. I started to get resentful. And then, you know, we started to bicker and things like that. And it was kind of, you know, arguments had happened then, oh, you know, but you're going out and you get to do this and come home. And then it's just like you're angry with everybody because you've just had the whole day at, like, you know, being around the kids and you're not getting out. So then it becomes a whole, a huge big ball of like, oh, you get to do this, I don't do that. And it's just that a horrible back and forth that we were caught in for a while. And it's because I just let go of all my values. I forgot what made me happy, and I forgot to schedule in that time to do things that made me happy. And that's so important for them as well. Like, even though they're going off to work, you know, they forgive their values too. Forgo their values as well. Yes. I hope I haven't been rambling.
No, that's good. So true. I definitely can completely agree with that. Like, resenting Alex for having the freedom to go to work and I was stuck at home. Like, definitely, because because I am so strong-willed and so independent and had my own money and, you know, worked full-time before the kids and everything, and then to lose, you know, some of those things so important to me: freedom, independence, my own strength. Like, definitely, like, definitely resenting that he got to have all the things that I really wanted. So so good.
And that's why, you know, I didn't realize the importance of knowing all that stuff back then either. Like, you just get caught in that. You just get caught in it. You get caught up in life and doing life, and you see other. You know, it's not in the manual. Nobody talks about this stuff, you know, before or after you know, not many people talk about it after you have kids, you know. It's not something that you sit down and go, how are you going? Have you been following, you know, been in line with your values lately? Like, people just don't have that conversation, you know. So I think it's like really important to be, I've always been open and honest and very truthful with, you know, being a mum and how tough it can be, because I don't want other mums to suffer, you know, or feel like they're alone. You know, and especially if, you know, you're finding out this information, you're like, oh my God, like, I need to share this with people.
Yes.
You know, it just gives other mums, women, just that sense of, oh gosh, I'm not alone, you know?
Yeah. So true.
I think it's also great for the relationship too.
Yeah, 100%. I can see, just as you were talking, like writing down some of Alex's values, and at first I was kind of a little bit like, oh, I can't even remember what our joint values are. Like, we don't have, like, in my head I was like, we don't have any joint values, like he likes this and that. But no, like, kind of seeing how some of the things he does, like my top values, I feel like my top values are alone time. And then my second one, I actually put growth, problem solving, creativity, learning new things, kind of all in one. I don't really know one word for that, but I
Teaching.
Sorry?
Teaching.
Yes, like teaching, education, learning new things, problem solving, creating. Like, one of my favorite things is when we used to go camping, and you know how you like forget things, or you don't always have the exact things you have at home. Like, I freaking love being resourceful and improvising. Like, I love that. You can see already that it's lighting me up. Like, I just love problem solving and creativity, and like, how are we going to do this and how are we going to make that. So,
and you see that in the life, you see that in your life. That's what you do. That's what you do in your leadership with your events that you're now doing. You know, you've done your internship because that was your knowledge, that was your learning phase, that was your absorbing and things, that you were living within your values there and doing something that lights you up, because at the end of it, you got to do your teaching, you got to give back and teach other people and lead other people. And
yeah. So I saw that when I was kind of, I don't know, I'll have to think of one word to encompass that. I don't know what it'll be. If you can think of one word, that would be awesome. But that value, I thought, like, you know, like, oh, Alex and I don't have any matching top values. But now when I really think about it, he has that same creativity, learning. Like, he is always researching stuff on YouTube, watching videos, watching educational stuff. He's a jeweler, so he's naturally, his work, you know, a lot of his work is, you know, ring resizing and charm soldiers and things that are monotonous. But when I see he gets lit up when a client or one of our friends comes to him and says, hey, I've got this stone, or this is the ring size, or this is the metal color I want, and like literally they only give him, you know, 1 or 2 parameters, and the rest he gets to be creative and go crazy, that lights him up. So that's clearly one of our you know, one of our things, our joint values, is creativity and constantly learning, because like, not only is he a jeweler by profession, but he also loves to, like, in his shed, you know, he's been watching Forged in Fire, where they like melt metal and make knives, and so he loves metal work and creating and fixing and learning and problem solving. So he loves all those same things. But he won't do it with a paintbrush or a social media post or, you know, writing a lesson for something. Like, he will do it differently, but we still have that same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool. We do have a top value in common.
100%. And like, it's really good to look back, you know, when you very first met each other, when you very first, like, were attracted to each other, like, you had your own set of values, and like, there was obviously shared things that got, you know, helped attract you to each other. So just going back to that time and working out, you know, before you were a couple, what was it about your partner that was attractive to you? What did you share? Like, you know, I knew that Brent was a family guy. I knew that he loved spending time with his family. I knew that he was spontaneous and loved, you know, hanging out with his friends. And I knew that he loved going to the pub. Oh my God, I loved all those things. And, you know, spontaneity was like, I didn't have that in my life. So I guess that was the void in my life, because I was kept so, I'm like, I am the firstborn. So I was very sheltered and very, like, wrapped in cotton wool. Like, my dad was such a protective dad, and I'm so thankful that he was. But back in that moment, gosh, it was so frustrating. I was frustrated. I just wanted to bust out, you know. And I think that became such a high value of mine, to have independence and freedom and spontaneity and all those things, because it was exciting. I'd never experienced it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. Like Alex and I are both firstborns, but I'm very much what you're just saying. Like I'm spontaneous and whatever, like let go of responsibility and just I don't really know how to say this well, but I
Just say it.
family is not one of my top values, because growing up I actually felt like I didn't have a good family home life. So families is one of those values I was kind of like, I hate family. Whereas Alex is the opposite. He's very family orientated, very loyal, and loyalty is one of the words that I often use to describe him, and one of the words that attracted me to him, because I was like, oh my goodness, he is loyal. He is somebody that, I'm going to cry, that will stay with you, that will stick with you. He is somebody who, loves his family, loves his friends, that will be there, like he'll be there for you. And yeah, I was just so attracted to that loyalty in him, because like you're saying, like it's the opposite of yours. Like it was such a phenomenal void in my life. I hadn't known that I could depend on people. Like I felt like I didn't have dependable people. So for him to be loyal and dependable and sturdy and security, he then became that void I was missing. But then it's so funny. I've watched our progression, because we have been together since 2001. So what are we, 20? So we've been together 19 years now. So it's so funny that then that loyalty and stability and security, I go through phases where I then actually resent that part of him, because I have not been filling up my own need for creativity and fun and spontaneity. I've been foregoing my values. So then I resent his, whereas I know that when I fill up my own cup with the things that are so important to me, then I don't resent those things about him. I'm remembered that I actually really love those things about him. So yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say something about resentment then, or jealousy. Oh, there's a really great quote, or there's a really great meaning around jealousy. Damn, I'm going to have to find it and like put it in the group or something.
Maybe do a live for us.
Pardon?
Maybe do a live for us.
Yeah, I think I will. I might just pop that down here, jealousy, because I know I just can't remember it right now. But it was really interesting. Yeah, that's going to bug me now. That's right, I can find it. But yeah, like, what our values are created from what we perceive was missing from our childhood. So that's what drives our values today. Like what you perceive was missing in your childhood, same with me, is what we're searching for right now. And that's why, connection is such an important thing for me. Quality time is such an important thing for me. All the things that I find important and what I'm searching for today is because I perceived it was missing or lacking in my childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, so good. And I'm so grateful for all the work that we have done, because like you said, I never ever in my life would have ever dreamt that I would have a conversation like, what are your values? Like, are you foregoing your values? Like, what are our shared values? It's just not any language that I had ever learnt in my childhood. So I'm so phenomenally grateful for everything, all the work that we've done, everything I've learned now. That a really awesome quote I love is that our ceiling, so my ceiling as a parent is actually just the platform that then my children get to launch off of. So I'm just so grateful for everything I'm learning and everything I'm then getting to teach them, because their platform just keeps getting higher and higher, and they will then launch, and the work never ends, like never ever ever ends. And I kind of had a bit of a so can you hear my children upstairs?
Yeah.
I kind of had a bit of a revelation recently that was like, when you're on this planet, you don't actually ever make it. Like the work never ends. You never actually make it. Like I'm very spiritual. I love God, and I've kind of come to that realization that you never actually make it in your lifetime. It's a never ending journey and progression and self-discovery and relearning. It's actually like you kind of actually make it in the next. Does that make sense? So yeah, like that's one of the things that has really helped me as a, you know, I think it's like a type A firstborn personality that's striving for perfection. One of the things that has allowed me to let go of perfection is like, I'll never actually reach perfection. Like it's not actually ever going to happen. And when I kind of accepted that, like I will never be perfect. Thank you, God, I will never be perfect. Hallelujah. Because that means that I will never, like I'll never stop learning. So I can just accept the fact that I'll never be perfect. Sweet.
Yeah. And I think that like that's a whole nother topic in itself. We could probably cover that. If anybody's interested in that, I think we can cover that another time.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, I think that should be another topic, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. Well, we might ask these ladies if you have any questions, and then we might wrap up. Cherie, do you have any questions, gorgeous? Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute, girl.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah, no, not really. I found that very helpful, actually.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. I just need to figure out what it is I like doing, I suppose, because I haven't been able
I think if you can spend time, and like it's really hard to just go boom, think about these things. Just give yourself a moment, and this is where it's really cool because you get to find yourself again, and you can take time to do that. So for me, like I do a lot of this work in seminars. So I'm by myself in seminars with people like-minded, and we're all talking about this stuff. So if you can find yourself like a quiet moment, or just when you're like in a state of calm, and you're just ready to open yourself up and remember who you were as a child. What are the things that you used to do as a kid that were really fun, you know? Like for me, I used to love, we had a pool out the back of our house, and it was an in-ground pool, and I can see you smiling, and it must bring up a memory for you too. So we had I'm one of four, so I've got two brothers and a sister, and we used to play in the pool all the time. And we used to play like these silly games, like just make up just random crap, like Dungeons and Dragons and Dungeons and this and that and whatever. And we used to play silly games, like one would be over one side, one would be over the other. We'd like swim over each other and under each other, like just playing silly games like that. So the pool for me, like that was such a great memory, you know. The pool at Christmas time, we'd be with all of the family, and all of the cousins would be in the pool after lunch swimming and just jumping in the pool. There was like pool noodles, there was like the big inflatable things that you sat in, like just as a child, like all of those memories. So Christmas for me, like that was about connection and quality time, because it was about the food, it was about like coming together, we were all happy. Like I just remember you know, the smells of the food, the talking, the laughter, the, you know, all popping the bonbons and putting the hats on and talking, you know, saying the jokes, you know. So just going back and finding those times, that for me, that was again connection and quality time, and remembering those things that you used to do. So if you used to love going bike riding or whatever, so aspects like that in your childhood you can still do today. So one of those things that I used to love doing was if my mum would have friends over, or she would go to a friend's place, I was a weirdo. I would sit at the table with the adults and I would listen to their conversation, right? I'd love it. I love hearing all the stuff that they'd be talking about, while all the other kids and that were all there playing in the bedrooms and stuff. I wasn't even interested in that. I was interested in conversation. So I remembered that point. I'm like, so how was that a value of mine, listening into adults' conversations? Like, that's just weird. But then I realized that I love advanced conversations. I love higher conversations. You know, I'm not interested in, you know, playing in the bedroom. I'm interested in advanced stuff and talking about, like, you know, future stuff and like outside here. So that's a huge value of mine, is having those advanced conversations. So if you can take yourself back to your childhood, what you used to do that lights you up is 100% what will light you up today. And I think that's, you know, we stop doing that as well. We stop the children in us. Like, we're all children at heart. We're just in an adult's body. And it's like we've got to an age where we have to take responsibility for things, and we have to be responsible and all those things. Yes, you have to be those things in certain times, but then we stop fulfilling those childlike things that make us happy, like having silly conversations, or, you know, pranking people, or, you know, whatever we used to do as kids. Like, you know, a great thing, oh my God, I can go on forever, but a great thing of ours is we sit around the family table, and once we're eating, like, we all talk shit. Like, we'll talk, you know, funny stuff, and we'll all be laughing, we'll be quoting movies and things like that. But that's us, like, that to me, like, it's funny, it's light-hearted, it's refreshing, it lights me up, it yeah, just all of those things. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
That's okay. But definitely reach out. Like, if you've got a question, like you're stuck on something and you don't know quite what that means now in adult terms or things like that, just reach out and we can always just chat about it.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
Hold
Sweet.
on, Joe. Oh, you're on mute. Hang on.
Yeah.
How do I, hang
You're
on.
good. Oh, there you
How
go.
do
You're good.
am I okay? Can you
Yep.
hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I'm at a real crossroads. I've been with my work for 10 years, just over 10 years. I love my job, but I feel like I'm not my truest self, in that I feel like I've got more to go. And like, I had, before I got sick last year, was about to go into social work through my work, and have been told since that that's not viable anymore, because I'd had so much time off work, and with the current climate of COVID, it's just, everything's been put on hold, and I'm actually really disappointed. But at the same time, it's sort of like, I feel like that side of me, whether it be psychology or social work, is where my truest self calling is. So this year, that's what I'm going to focus on, figuring out how to do that without being able to support myself still. No, not, yeah, because I've still got kids, and, you know, that and life still goes on, and I'm a very practical person. It's sort of like, I have to be able to pay for the roof over my own head. I don't like to take handouts or anything, and very few people will. I've actually let know how much of a struggle last year was, and getting back to how important it was getting back to work and getting back to actually earning an income again and trying to get back up on top of things. So this year is all about getting out of debt for me. Like, that's a very practical thing, because, you know, that's just the way it is at the moment. But moving forward, I just don't feel, I feel like there's more for me, as far as work is not just a job. It shouldn't be, it should be something that it's one of those excitement things. I need it to be, I need to be able to be excited about getting up in the morning to go somewhere, or to engage in that. You know, it can't be just a means to an end for me.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at the moment. Yeah, I've got a few in my life, like, and some of those people, I feel like, are wanting more of me than what I can give. I find it really hard to say no. That's a real learning curve for me at the moment as well. So those are my two main things that I'm trying to sort of balance.
Yeah.
Matt.
Well, I just want to say thank you for sharing that. Like, I know at some point, you know, everybody feels like that. They feel that sense of this, is this it? Like, you know, is this it, or is there's got to be something more. Like, you start feeling that what it's like, what's the value that I can give? Like, I'm trying to find that value to give people. And I think, you know, doing this exercise and working out what your values are, you know, even writing down like what you in your work and what you have to offer as a whole, maybe writing down those things and who you are as a person and what value you have to give to people. Like, what can you bring to the table, you know? So kind of writing down like a little bit of a position description of yourself type of thing. So it's kind of like, I think then once you can focus on that, and then you can start to if you can write those things down and you can align yourself with them, you can relate yourself with them, you start like almost putting it into a mantra every day. So you're declaring your worth to the universe, because you're telling the universe that you're worthy. These are the things that you have to offer. I'm a very universal person, and I believe what you put out there is what's going to come back for you. So if you're putting those things out there for you, I 100% believe that opportunities are going to come your way. And also taking down that expectation of what that might or must look like, is maybe a little bit of maybe advice that I could give.
Thank you. That's really, I'm writing it down because I want to like go over what we've chatted about, and it's like there's some really great input there and things that I probably already know, but it's just that confirmation from somebody else and actually complete strangers that it's not listening to open up to complete strangers, but I do, you know, I don't have trouble talking, and I'm such a shy person. Not.
Yes, I used to be too. I used to be so shy. Like, if you,
I'm not got a shy bone in my body. I never have. When they talk about extroverts, I'm a different breed to that again. So like, yeah. So I don't. When I meet, like you said, you were shy, and sorry to cut you off, but when I meet somebody who is actually shy, I don't get it. I don't get it, because I don't know, I do view myself as very much an empathetic person, but somebody told me once a couple of years ago that it was a true sign that I was more of a psychopath because I had no fear of public speaking. I don't get that nervous feeling. I don't get that. I actually get excited. And I said to him, well, that's my nervous feeling. I get excited because I've got something to input. As long as I understand and know the subject matter, what is there to get nervous about? And they said, well, you're a psychopath. And I was like, well, fuck you. See you later.
My gosh, like, that's very full on. Like, I can't even
right.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know, and they were a supposed learned colleague. And I was like, you know what, our degrees may be different, but I'm a better person. I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah, look, I honestly think that's incredible courage, and like for someone to be able to say that, because I'm the same. Like, if I know a topic of conversation 100% in my, like, every cell in my body feels 100% against it, like, I will be so confident about speaking it. But if you're not sure about it, and that's total like human nature to be like that as well. And I think good on you for being able to just be able to do that, because so many people have a fear of what other people will be thinking or saying, or that will overrule their own thoughts and beliefs.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like my thoughts and my beliefs, I'm shoving it down somebody's face. I'm just saying I'm confident in my thoughts and beliefs.
Yeah.
And that's okay with me that you don't agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So that's what I'm at.
That's good. Or do you think like you've got like a good, a better, what would you say, like a better focus for this week to have something to work on?
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Definitely.
good.
Yeah. I couldn't sleep last night thinking about today's catch up, because I wasn't sure what to expect. Didn't know how, because it's like, you know, it's new for me. And then I was awake at about 3:15 again, thinking about it and making sure that the app worked. Everything. And I was like, and then I like went for a walk, and I thought I'm going to be late getting back, and I wanted to have a quick shower, and I'm like, you know what? Stop thinking. Just stop thinking. And then I couldn't get the sound to work. I was like, no. Then I woke up, so all good.
Oh, perfect. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Oh, well, good on you for jumping on and just doing it anyways and working it out. Good on you.
Yeah, if anything, I'm persistent.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it was great to meet you and great to chat again, Cherie.
Thank you.
Yep. Sorry I was late. I couldn't get in.
Oh, that's okay. Perfect timing.
Yeah, technical difficulties will change for next week.
Yeah.
Oh, love it. All right, ladies, it was perfect to talk to you. And let us know how you go. Let us know how your week goes and how you're feeling, and any
whatever comes
anything that comes up. Yeah.
Cool.
And thank you for this cool tip. Oh my goodness, I am so excited right now.
I'm going to
pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Palm trees and stuff in your eyes.
Make sure you look like you're on holidays with your sunnies on.
Hey?
Looks like you're on holidays with your sunnies on.
Love it. Oh, brilliant. All right, ladies, have the best day.
Thanks, Beck.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.